Welcome back, everybody, to the Amazon EU Masters. My name is Punchables. I'm joined by Tag Kench. We just had a little dance break. You should have seen the white boomer dancing that was happening right here during that slog. But yeah, we're back. League of Legends is happening and has happened and will continue to happen. Bit of a slower one, has to be said, for our second game of the day, but good to see that level of control coming out from our second seed from the Private League.
Yeah, exactly. Look, it did happen just at a snail's pace, but it was really what Eintracht wanted, right? Get into the face of double aim, make sure he's not going to be having a good early stages, and with Obsessed being able to control the mid jungle with Special, it just was really over from the get-go. And honestly, like, shout out to Special. I think Special was phenomenal on this LeBlanc pick, even into the Ahri. Like, we've seen that is a matchup that goes relatively even for a large portion, but it's not what we got at all. Instead, Special dictating the pace of that from level 1, and it's set perfectly for Obsessed to do his thing.
A great roam as well coming up from Prime and Kinetic, right? Being able to punish that play. It's clearly coordinated. It's clearly like this is an open playbook that these guys are playing from. It's like, okay, drill, play number 15 on page 7. Like, let's go for that one in the mid lane. And really nice to see that. Yeah,
but that's what I was saying. Like, I actually really think Eintracht have like a cool way of playing the game. And it's actually very similar to like the way Schalke 04 played before we end up having like Kinetic move away from them onto this squad. And I think it's kind of like, hey, look, we're going to play through this like strong mid jungle. We're going to play through our solo laners and just kind of let Kinetic do his thing with farming. But then we're going to start rotating the bot lane as a duo around the map. And you can see it catches out people so many times. Even here, coming into this fight, you've already got Kinetic set up in the mid lane. They're looking for that prio. And instantly, as soon as Special lands the chains, it's the go button for Eintracht now.
Yeah, and this fight felt like so much near commitment from both teams, right? It felt like both teams were unable to quite find as much as they wanted, but you just saw Eintracht just group up as a death ball, and there was no way for the other team to be able to get in. There was no way to find that engagement. We saw Rakan go in and just get one shot.
But that's the thing, right? Like, when you look at the champions that were on their team, when you look at what Kraina's faced had, what does Viego do when he's behind? What does Jinx do when she's behind? Like, they're both so reliant, at least being somewhat ahead. And when Obsessed was doing such a good job of working with Special to keep that in check, like, there's just nothing there for them to really kind of like fight back against. And we'll have to see now for at least Eintracht like, how this starts to continue throughout the split. Because I already, or at least spread out Amazon EU Masters, because this is a good showing from them. We can still see, say, like this siege, right? Not exactly very quick, not exactly cleanest. Now, they do have a relatively short-range composition, and they are sieging without Baron, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But you can kind of see that, like, when you look at how dominant some of our, like, LFL represents, like, Vitality B have already been, you need to make sure that you're keeping that in consideration.
Yeah, you have to consider the fact that this needed to be a clean win today, right? This needed to be a clean start to things from Eintracht, and it was. Special especially, I think, having an incredible game to start his tournament off. Obsessed, we saw the early invades onto the enemy jungle. Like you said, he needed to shut down double aim, and he really did. More than comfortable getting into double aim space and just making sure the game plan for Kravena could never even happen. And I mean, look, 9 kills on the board, 30 assists. That shows how much of a team effort this was.
Yeah, I mean, they were working so well together. But look at Special's damage, right? 18.3k. This guy was an absolute monster. We talked about already, like, what we've traditionally seen from Special on BTXL back in the day, much more of a facilitator. Now he's being facilitated, and it's great to see Special having these pop-off performances.
It feels fantastic. I love watching Special, especially on things like that. LeBlanc, and we said, Ahri versus LeBlanc, somewhat of a skill matchup in that mid lane. Plenty of skill expression available. Well, Special expressed his skill. Let's take a look at our next matchup, though, because it's time for game number 3 of our day. We're going to move into Team BDS Academy up against Team ESCA. And I feel like this one is kind of, I'm not especially sure who wins this one necessarily. I feel like there's space for upset here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a super, super close one. But we are going to bring up BDSA on your screens. Agresivoo, Sheo, Xico, Crownshot, and Erdote are going to be taken to the Rift. And honestly, this is a team that, as you say, like, I think Xico really stepped up phenomenally as like an individual gamer on the team. Agresivoo has always been kind of known as this guy who's very good with wave management. So I think like the individual laners here on Team ESCA are going to have to step up.
Yeah, and on the other side, we've got a few more names that I'm going to struggle with.
I took the first one for a reason, right?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what this roster
HeSSZero, xeonerr, Mrozku.
Yeah, it's HeSSZero, xeonerr, Mrozku, Harpoon, and Marlon.
Yeah.
Marlon and Harpoon, I can handle that. Fishing references galore coming your way. But yeah, Team ESCA coming from the Ultra League, seed number 2 from the Ultra League. So this will be the second Ultra League team that we see today, and it has to be said, Aggo Road left something to be desired in the first game of the day. So we want to see now TEG stepping up, showing us what the Ultra League are made of.
And look, I am super excited to see someone like Mrozku come into this, because this is the guy with a super unique champion pool. Ton of assassins, ton of melee champions, like his Akalis, Sylases. These are the kind of things that you're going to expect. Even the Yone, a big pick for him as well. So I'm curious to see if we will get those banned away. That is not a mistake, by the way, for the Udyr. Udyr, another big pick that Xeonerr like to go for. So already you can see BDS Academy have already figured out what their game plan is coming into this.
Yeah, LeBlanc taken off the board as well. So definitely somewhat standard bans, and then Udyr, right? And then apparently Yone too. So I take it back, not at all standard bans.
This is the thing, right? When you look at like LFL, I'd say they're the region that's like most close to the LSE meta, right? They end up scrimming a lot of the LSE teams. You kind of get to a feel for what those are. But certainly when you look at like Ultra League, when you look at the Spanish region as well, like these are still regions that have their own style and their own meta to them. And we'll have to see as this course of the Amazon E Masters goes on, how they're going to match up against each other.
All right, well, the Ahri has been a theme across the course of today, and it will be locked in as that first pick of Xico in that mid lane, excuse me. And now, you know, Jinx and Aphelios both available here. You can go for things in the jungle, like Volibear, for example, still open. So plenty of power picks still available after what we've seen in the past.
Surprised to see the Jinx, though. Jinx has kind of fallen out of the equation a little bit because of the nerfs to her range and the mana, and that we saw coming in on patch 12.6. But it does mean you can still go for things like the Aphelios if you want to for Crownshot down in that bottom lane. I would love to see the Volibear here, though. I think solidifying Xeonerr with a strong pick in that jungle is going to be so important, but actually just going to go over towards the Jarvan instead. Still fits the both though, right? Like, let's get this strong, early aggressive jungler that can look for plays, level 2, level 3. But if Sheo just goes towards the Volibear or even something like the Hecarim, I still think are relatively all right.
Yeah, another kind of team fight engage tool, right? That's what we're looking for in the jungle. Volibear, open and available. Feels like one of the strongest picks on the patch. Feels like something that across the whole of the tournament so far, we're seeing everyone agree Volibear is the priority.
I mean, and the Volibear Ahri is so incredibly strong as well, especially with the LeBlanc band away. You're starting to look at things that tend to be like relatively immobile control mages in the mid lane to try and answer for this, and you're kind of going, well, what's your plan, right? Although I will say for Mrozku, like Sylas, I think could work really well here. He's a big Sylas player. We've seen Sylas comes out as a kind of an answer to the Ahri in a lot of situations, because it's like, oh, well, you can't really push me to lane. I'm going to be able to heal up when you go aggressive, and you've got that flexibility there, and he's going to go straight forward.
Sylas locked in for that mid lane. So we have matching drafts so far, right? We've got ADC, we've got jungle, we got mid lane locked in on both sides of the board. Now towards the bans, won't be surprised to see some bans towards that top lane and try and set up for a good pickup, maybe even set up for a counter pick for HeSSZero.
Yeah, I think HeSSZero getting counter pick is going to be crucial. Okay, the Aatrox ban is already just screaming to me. Agresivoo is probably looking at something like an Ornn in the top lane. Like, this is, the most played pick for HeSSZero, but also very good into Ornn. So it's kind of like getting rid of two birds with one stone. Yeah, but we'll have to see what this as we start to continue forward, because you got the Jace, you got the Kennen band away as well. So things that can be a bit of a nuisance at that range.
And you know, we're talking about Agresivoo here, who pretty well known for having to play the weak side across the course of his career, right? So him locking in something like an Ornn, where we keep on seeing Ornn today, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, I mean, even when he was on Misfits Premier last split, it was basically a case of Agresivoo, do your thing. We'll see you in about 15 minutes. We're just going to play down towards the bot side. So very similar story here. But I will say for the opposite side, for the Ultra Liga fans, like HARPOON for me is the man that I'm looking at in this draft and in this game. See if he can step up for Team ESCA. And when you've got this safety now with the Tahm Kench, for letting that Jinx go a little bit further forward, maybe playing a little bit of a Kraken Slayer Jinx as well, it feels like HARPOON can still be that big damage dealer. He does 30% of the team's damage on average. It's insane.
It's absolutely mental. I feel like that bottom lane is going to be exciting, right? Because you've got HARPOON really hyped up AD carry up against Crownshot, who we all know, ex-LEC player, very hyped up, lots of lots of reputation behind him, but also a Lulu behind him. That's a recipe to carry for Crownshot.
Yeah, 100%. And a nice adaptation when you see the Tahm Kench, because you go, okay, well, we're not really going to be under too much pressure, so let's go with the Lulu. Works super well. If the TK ever tries to go over aggressive, we can try and shut him down with the Whimsy and start to get that damage back. Ton of safety, even speed ups for the Volibear in the late game. And Agresivoo not actually going to go towards the Ornn like I was kind of looking at. He's actually just going to go towards the Graves. So do we see HeSSZero going towards something like the Tryndamere? Because it's a really good answer. And if you want to just play for side lanes, you've got that opportunity with the Sylas.
Tryndamere could be the answer. We'll see where HeSSZero wants to go up in that top side though. And
I will say, we've forgotten what region we are in because LEC doesn't like it. LPL loves the Tryndamere, but LEC is not a big fan. So it will be the Gwen. We're just going to go back towards it. It's funny to see the Gwen kind of like coming back into priority though, because she definitely, like, I think those nerfs hit her pretty damn hard. It's into matchups like the Ornn, you can get away with it because she doesn't have to worry too much about the lack of range, right? She's very much playing to get to that late game scaling, look for the true damage and have that good time against the Ornn. Against something like a Graves, that lack of range is going to really come into play a big factor because you dash forward, Graves dashes away, and even with the smoke screen and everything else, it becomes really hard to actually get that early trade-off with the Gwen.
Well, I feel like top lane, we just had a little talk about that with the Gwen versus the Graves. Bottom lane, it's kind of a foregone conclusion, kind of just a scaling lane. But the mid jungle, I feel like there is plenty of opportunity for proactivity on both sides of the board here. Volibear Ahri, incredibly strong at the 2v2, and this Sylas completely changes everything.
I gotta say though, the problem for the Sylas and the problem for everyone who's gameplay is not Sheo. Like, you have full priority in all three of your lanes here for Sheo. If I'm Sheo, I'm just like, cool, I'm just gonna like pop my head in here, I'll get a nice gank off because I've got Ahri who's gonna be able to set myself up for the Sylas play in the mid lane. I've got the Graves in the top lane that can look to play around, shut down this Gwen early, and even the Aphelios level 1 to 3 now, because of the changes to the Jinx, because you've got Lulu, will have priority there as well. So maybe you look for some invades with using the fact you've got this strong Volibear as well. So I think Sheo definitely set up to have a really nice time in this game.
Yeah, I think it's worth reiterating those Jinx nerfs as well, because I feel like it somewhat went under the radar, but it was a nerf to the early game. Still that late game hyper carry, but the early laning not as strong. But we're on to the Rift Dagda for the third time and our final time today. 6 games across the course of today. We're just going to be doing the first 3, as it's BDS Academy up against Team ESCA. And BDS Academy already starting off feeling a little bit aggressive on the top side of the map. All stacking up, moving into the top lane. Brushes. HeSSZero wants to spot this out. Agresivoo role-playing. He is an actor. He's looking for an Oscar. He's looking to hopefully not get slapped in the process. But HeSSZero might get slapped as the rest of the team moving on around. In they come. HeSSZero in trouble. Has Ghost, doesn't have Flash. The charm is there. HeSSZero with no Flash will fall, and it's Crowny to get first blood on Aphelios. What a start for BDS.
3 matches that go well so far for the Ultra League. LFL coming out with the first punch. Now, we'll see that you can get ESCA moving in a little bit just to get some vision control down, making sure they can spot out what the jungle route from Sheo is. But that's such a good start there for BDSA.
Certainly isn't. HeSSZero using that Ghost as well. Feels like not only does he ends up dying, you know, it's not the end of the world if you die before the laning phase. It's not like he's going to miss minions, but having that summoner gone can mean it's a little bit easier for Sheo to try and punish. You already said it's possible for Sheo to get invading, get into these lanes through the priority.
Yeah, and it's only going to make it worse, especially the fact that the kill did go to Crownshot, as you pointed out, right? Like, now Crownshot goes back, he gets the boots, and this has been kind of the story of the Jinx Aphelios matchup. Is so often you end up having, like, the support roam out, it ends up as Jinx Aphelios, and it becomes a race to the Gale Force. If the Aphelios can get there first, he can close the gap onto Harpoon, make sure that you're able to get a ton of damage, and that burst damage can be so hard for this Jinx to deal with. And now the Crownshot's got that first gold, our first bit of gold. He's very much going to be getting there.
Oh, instant flash engage. Look at that coming through. ESCA not going to go down without a fight here. Beautiful play.
Really well done by xeonerr as well. Just taking that level 2, he cleared out his Raptors, and honestly, I think this was just a really good adaptation from the Jarvan. Traditionally, we've seen, like, hey, I'm going to do all my solo camps, right? Like, even on a super quick clear, it's like red wolves into Raptors.
Sheo's going to get caught. He sweeps it, but he's already knocked up, and again, the CC chain is there, but Sheo survives, gets a shield. But again, another flash forced here. I'm loving how aggressive ESCA are.
They're just playing into the fact that this is non-traditional. It's like, hey, LFL, you might be used to what the LEC wants to do, but now you're starting to see what the Ultra Liga can do. We're not going to just play around, hey, we're going to do our 3 camps, do our 4 camps, go for the gank, your traditional Jarvan stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to go for the level 2. We're going to get in your face. And now BDS Academy on the back foot.
Certainly are. Although, you say that, BDS Academy do still have the gold lead, but it's where that gold is lying, right? Crowny is going to be the one with the advantage for the side of BDS Academy, but the top side of the map in favor of Team ESCA. xeonerr, though, going to be able to go for this blue buff. This is on his own side of the map, but maybe looks towards the bottom lane next. Got a crab available. There are some pings going towards that bottom lane, but not sure he'll really find an angle.
Yeah, and again, Sheo as well, because he is playing the Volibear, actually able to heal up relatively well. Right, Smite, the double W, giving him the ability to just heal himself back up, so not actually going to be too far behind, but at least we're seeing the xeonerr wants to get out and active on the map in these early stages. We just have to see if he can try and continue that, especially now that he has no flash, but at least he has burnt it onto the Volibear as well.
Crownshot with a bit of a slow push in this bottom side. You can see xeonerr still in the bottom side of the map right now. Perhaps that opportunity will come after all. Marlon has played an absolute blinder. He's snuck in. There's the knock-up onto Crowny. The Ignite burning away. One more auto does the trick. Harpoon guts him in the middle of the river, and now onto the Lulu as well. The knock-up goes wide, but the zap is there. The tongue licking away. And there's a kill for your Jarvan as well. ESCA onto the map.
And xeonerr has just been doing so well with the amount of extra pressure he's been able to put down. He's not worried about his camp. He knows that he needs to get active early in the early stage of the game, and it is happening so well for ESCA. Now, Mrozku just trying to see if he can spot a Sheo, but we are going to hop into this replay here. Marlon, secret agent.
I love it.
I mean, look, they don't even know he's there. Gets straight in onto Crownshot. And it's before Jarvan even shows on vision, so BDS Academy just not ready for it at all.
I mean, Marlon, the sneakiest catfish this side of the Mississippi. You love to see it, making the play. And Crowny, he was the advantage that BDS Academy had, right? We just said how the top 2 lanes were in advantage for ESCA, but the bottom lane was going well for BDS. Well, not anymore.
I will say, though, it is now even in that bot side, right? Because the big wave that's been pushed in, HARPOON didn't really get to do particular much as they get some heavy trading mid, but HARPOON didn't get to shove that wave back, right? He's only evened up the CS, but now we're looking at the Dragon.
It's going to be Marlon trying to force an engage here. I'm loving how aggressive Mrozku is willing to be in this mid lane. Knows that Sylas needs to be brawling. Won't win just a long extended farming lane against an Ahri.
And so many times when ESCA won their games, it's because like Mrozku and HeSSZero as well have these big advantages for themselves in the solo lanes, but that's what they're trying to get now.
Oh, no knock up. Flash still available actually for Xico, and he's going to find himself a solo kill. Oh, Marlon, he had such a good play. Oh, no. Then he fumbles it. Now Crowny looking for a kill. Flash forward, but the heal is in play. Couple of turret shots come through. Harpoon survives.
HARPOON just about surviving center in the area as well. I must keep my eyes on where Agresivo's going because he's actually locked in behind Mrozku here. I think they're diving.
I think they might dive in the mid lane. Mrozku going to get a taste of his own medicine, but the Spirit Rush stolen and used defensively here. We'll be able to just clear this wave up after all. So nice bit of defensive play, but I love how aggressive both of these teams have been, right? And especially from the Ultra Liga. We saw this from Rogue earlier on. I'm used to saying Ultra Liga, slow controlled gameplay. That's what I'm used to saying about the region. Doesn't feel true anymore. There's another play coming through. BDS Academy trying to take control of the area, and we'll be able to do so.
Xico doing a really good job here with the charms, just kind of shutting down a lot of what Team ESCA want to go for. And now they're in a position where, okay, yes, we've had a ton of kills going back and forth across the map, but like bot lane, very slight CS lead. You're looking in the mid lane as well. Now that kill advantage and the CS going towards Xico, and Agresivoo has been able to get himself an advantage in that top side as well. So even though we've had some extra kills going across to the Ultra Liga representative, they haven't actually amounted to very much when you look at the gold, when you look at the advantages they have.
Sheo moving into this bottom side. Crowny doing his best to look juicy, right? 3/4 of his HP. It feels like advantage for Harpoon, but with a jungler in tow, this could be an opportunity for BDS Academy. So far, Harpoon not going to fall for it, not going to step too far forwards. It will just be a neutral lane, so Sheo has to recall. and reset. And, you know, Dagda, let's reset on the cast as well. Let's figure out what's going to be happening for the next couple of minutes here. Because, again, advantages across the board in terms of those kills for the side of ESCA, but they don't actually have a significant gold lead. How do they push forward as the underdog in this?
I'd actually love to see Marlon resetting right now. Like, this wave is going to crash anyway, but you can start to move up towards the Rift Herald here. You've got the wave that's about to bounce off of top turret as well, so maybe you look for some sort of play, move that over in towards Rift Herald, and you would love to have Marlon there to help out with that, but unfortunately, he hasn't gone for the reset, so now you end up with Sheo being able to match that aggressive play that we're actually about to see Xeonerr go for on this top side, but Agresivoo even reading that as well.
Herald's available, but Agresivoo just going to be able to instantly clear the wave. That's one of the beautiful things about playing this Graves on the top side, right? Very difficult to dive in because you can clear the wave so effectively. Actually managing to build himself a small CS lead up in that top lane. But crucially, in the mid lane, that's where the biggest CS lead is coming from Xico. And after that kill was sort of gifted to him by Marlon as well. He's found a pretty sizable advantage.
But that's the thing, right? Like, it only takes one fight for this game to blow open either side, right? Like, a Sylas gets 2 kills in a skirmish at Rift Herald, like, suddenly he gets an Everfrost, suddenly he's unkillable in a fight. You're looking at, like, HARPOON, who maybe starts to snowball as this Jinx, but on the flip side, right, you start to get Sheo and Xico ahead, well, now you've got this pick that can happen so easily in the enemy jungle. Crownshot can pop the hell off on this Aphelios, so this is why we're seeing so tentative hooks here for both sides.
Knock up on the bottom side. Erdote flashes away from the Cataclysm, though. Keep yourself safe. That is going to be a summon to burn. Nicely done there on the Jarvan by Xeonerr. Could go towards the Drake, but with Cataclysm down, maybe the fight could be difficult.
Yeah, I think they're just going to go for it anyway. Sheo starting this one up. You do have... Xeonerr starting this up. You have Sheo in the area, and I think Sheo's been doing a great job of like trying to match where Xeonerr is, but now we got to see with the presence in mid lane if they can catch out the Ultraliga farm.
Is it a 50-50? There's no smite on this Jarvan, and it's just going to be taken by Sheo. Flashes away, jumps over the wall, rocket goes wide. Xico now in a 1v3, but returning to the rest of the team with a Spirit Rush. And well, that's just beautiful from BDSA.
I mean, as you say, like Xeonerr, don't know if it was the best of times to try and start this up. You had some push and pop, but not a big enough wave to keep Crownshot and Erdote away. You don't even have smite and no control mid.
Oh, great jump from Xico, and here's Agresivoo roaming from the top side. Collateral damage. Ignite not quite enough, but it's damn close.
And I mean, so far, BDS Academy, even if they haven't been able to get the advantages they want, right? Like, Sheo tracking the Jarvan after those early kills, trying to make sure that Jarvan doesn't show up in a lane to make it unfair. You're seeing Agresivoo starting to move around, but Marlon...
Bit of thunder here. Sheo tries to get onto Marlon, but the flash keeps this Tahm Kench safe. The Catfish lives another day. And again, we keep on seeing this play on the bottom side where Sheo comes in, but not really able to make it connect.
It's giving Xeonerr the time to do this Rift Herald, though, and I mean, if for the Ultraliga, they really want to try and start like cracking open some of these towers, get some much needed gold in towards Sylas, in towards the Jinx, because again, I mean, if these carries start to get rolling for Team ESCA, it's going to be so damn good for the Ultraliga. I mean, even as you can see, like, HeSSZero hasn't had the most impact in this game so far, right? He's kind of just been farming up, but in the later portion of the game, he's going to be able to do a ton of work against things like this Aphelios.
Feels like we're going to need a lot of damage done to this Aphelios later on. Crownshot, a player with a ton of experience behind him, right? This guy has been around the block. This guy, relatively famous as well. Let's be honest, he's a big fan favorite.
Yeah.
Crowned his Comet, one of the most famous European players in the last few years. But I'm curious to see how Team ESCA are going to be able to deal with him later on into the game, because it does feel like they need to dive on top of him, right? And Aphelios loves that. That's the perfect situation for Aphelios.
Yeah, the big thing though is like, okay, well, if you've got the Sylas who comes in and does his big combo, then instantly goes into stasis, right? Well, now you don't actually have a target there. If you've got a Gwen who's in your face and Hollowed Mist, what do you, like, you've got to be confident enough to step into the Hollowed Mist to deal the damage to the Gwen.
I agree with you to an extent, but if Sylas, instead of going into a stasis, becomes a squid because there's a Lulu, suddenly the play looks a lot different for BDSA.
I will say, I still think you're running for the hills. Like, there is so much there, and even squids can be eaten by catfish. It's nature in action, you know?
That's true. Catfish do... Well, actually, I have no idea what catfish eats, to be quite honest. It's going to be Xeonerr hit by a charm here. Actually going to go for the Cataclysm himself and dashes back out of the play. Ignite use, Xico on this front side. Looks like he will be able to get away with his life, though. As ESCA, actually HARPOON stepping way too far forwards, punished for it. xeonerr forced away as well. There's no Drake up. This feels like a dragon fight. It's not. Don't be fooled. 2 minutes until that Drake comes up. HARPOON hit by a bit of lightning, but here's Mrozku on the top side of the play. This could be too much from BDSA. There's a good charm. Bit of damage out from Xico. Moonlight Vigil. Gravitum is there. Crownshot tanking the tower, though. The rocket dodged straight between the goalposts there. And it's all going to lead to nothing.
Yeah, I mean, BDS Academy trying to match xeonerr on the spot side because he knows he has the Rift Herald. They don't want that extra gold going into HARPOON, as he already called the Kraken Slayer build coming out. So this Jinx is going to hurt in the later portion of the game, and the quicker she gets towards Rapid Fire Cannon, the worse it is for BDS Academy. So at least the moment, Sheo, nice job to just, again, matching xeonerr around the map.
Sheo moving forwards here, so Crown he can use his red or white on this tower and guarantee an extra play. Nice intelligent play here coming out from BDSA.
And I have to say, for BDS Academy, especially Sheo, like much more reserved play than I've seen to them traditionally in the LFL, right? I think Sheo's been doing a really good job of kind of understanding what his role is here. Not to go hyper aggressive, look for plays, look for picks. It's, hey, as long as I match this Jarvan in the early stages, make sure we're hitting the mid game a little bit stronger, looking at these early dragons, that's where we're going to shine.
And crucially, that extra little bit of play for Crownshot to be able to get the plates in the bottom side, well, that matches then the Herald that came out in that mid lane. So when you look at the gold, it's still BDS Academy with a lead right now, about 1,500 in their favor. And look at the difference in CS across the board here. CS leads in every single lane for BDS Academy, and especially in that jungle, it's looking kind of brutal.
And again, now you've got Dragon in 20 seconds. They already have the resets in place, so BDS Academy should get control over River. And now I want to see if ESCA are going to start to move around the map. You've got Mrozku backed for his Everfrost. I think it's the right call, right? But you've got to make it happen elsewhere. And I'm actually looking at xeonerr now, moving up towards the top side with Marlon. I think they're going to look for a dive instead of that Dragon.
Mrozku has the Spirit Rush available. Unless the Sylas spectator book still exists, I actually don't know if that's the case. Agresivoo getting dived, 1v3 under the tower here, jumps away, dashes under the play. Can he survive though? The turret shots denied by Marlon. Nicely done by ESCA, but at what cost in the meantime? It's going to be the Dragon taken on the side of BDS.
I mean, just a really good call from ESCA, because they're like, look, we aren't going to be able to fight the Dragon. Like, the timing resets that Mrozku had to go for in the Everfrost meant they couldn't contest vision. He had no teleports. They're like, right, we'll make a play elsewhere. And the bot lane turret was already good as gone, right? Yeah. Like, you either lose the fight at Dragon or you've got to run away from it anyway, because you just have BDS Academy fully commit to that bot lane turret. So they're still trading down, but not as down as it could be.
Oh, that Everfrost is gorgeous! Marlon forced away, but a beautiful little kill onto HARPOON, and that will be another tower. That makes this a 2-for-1 trade instead of just even, and Sheo wants a little bit more as well. Red buff slowing, but I don't think they can quite finish Marlon off.
And that's the thing here for HARPOON. You've gone for the Kraken Slayer build, and he's thinking, well, you know, I've got my Tahm Kench here. It's all good. I've got my safety, but there was no ultimate available for Marlon, no safety for the Jinx. Xico knew that at the top lane dive and played that perfectly.
Very nicely done with the charm in that mid lane. Still has flash available as well. Didn't even, I think maybe could have flashed for Marlon, but I think his stuff was on cooldown still, so couldn't quite make the kill happen. But I feel like we've got a pretty close one on our hands stacked out. I'm excited to say at the 16-minute mark, the gold about 2,000 in favor of BDSA, which is still a great advantage for them. But it ain't over just yet. And ESCA have shown really good signs of life and proactivity.
Yeah, the Ultra Liga number 2 versus the LFL number 2 is really getting to show what both these regions have in stock. And we'll have to see now what ESCA, as they start to link up in the mid, what they can do. But this was just gorgeous, right? HARPOON not respecting the engage at all. The double Everfrost was great. Sheo and Erdote are on the way, but yeah, HARPOON just not having that safety net of Marlon, and you can see the results.
Beautifully done. And now, as we said, gold lead for BDSA and a proactive composition, it has to be said. With this Volibear and the Ahri, they can continuously put pressure forwards now, and it feels like ESCA need to figure out what the next step is. Sheo managing to grab that blue buff for himself. Smite's available here. But again, we're grouping around these it feels like dragon fights, but again, that was to invade and try and steal the blue buff, not to set up for a Drake.
ultimate there from Harpoon just to try and like stop Agresivoo resetting, because I think ESCA want to try and move up towards this Rift Herald, especially with HeSSZero having pushed in this top side. Like, you just end up linking over towards that. Agresivoo, you can even see, refuses to back. It's just like, look, I've got to go and contest this top wave instead.
HeSSZero could be in trouble here. Agresivoo actually gets the Grump for himself as well. Blasts it with a shotgun. The Grump's ancient worst enemy is that shotgun, of course. But now over to the Scuttle Crab. Scuttle Crab won in it. It sort of is a Scuttle Crab. It's like a giant
on a bit of a journey, you know, found itself. You know? It took a gap year, you know.
Really I think it is meant to be like a Void Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, it is.
Right? They do look exactly the same, but with purple.
Yeah.
And when you've got a Lulu on your team, purple, everything tastes it.
That is true. I'm just really surprised that Kai'Sa doesn't look more similar to that.
Yeah, well, I think the reason she doesn't is so that they can sell skins. Let's be real here. Let's take a look at how this game is going to be going for the next few minutes, though, Dagda, because, again, we've been slowly but surely pushing through, and I feel like this was a really active, really exciting game to start off, but it feels like BDSA slowly but surely gaining control of the game, and ever since they've had the lead, feels like they've done a good job of just slowing down the game and controlling it so this Aphelios can scale up.
Well, it's just been like 1 or 2 mistakes coming out from ESCA, right? Like where Harpoon gets caught in the mid lane means you can't really contest the mid push. Now we have xeonerr though with the Herald though will spot out the BDSA are back in towards this mid lane. So now unfortunately you've got the jungler and the mid laner on the bot side of the map. You'll have BDSA who can push in mid, group up with Xico on this bottom side who's nicely pushing in the wave, but again get more and more control of this bottom side of the map just in time for the dragon in 50 seconds. And this is the biggest problem for ESCA is just like trying to get control of the map. I mean, without the well, they want to use the Rift Herald in a second, but without having to pop that, they don't really have the opportunity to control it.
Yeah, I mean, look at these wards everywhere. Complete darkness. There is, I think, 1 red ward on the entire map, and it's over at chickens. That's not helpful when we've got dragon coming up in 30-second times. And it's to the point where I think ESCA just gonna have to ignore this dragon completely, because I'm not sure they can contest against BDSA. Though.
It's the 3rd dragon for BDSA. You really don't want to, like, just give this away, but xeonerr!
Oh, Crownshot, Gale Force forward. It's going to be grabbing him as xeonerr actually going to turn it around. There's a knock-up Cataclysm as well. HeSSZero into the middle of everyone, but xeonerr the first one to go down. Rocket is there. Crownshot still full HP right now. Attacking on the backside. In goes the bear. In goes HeSSZero. And they take down the Aphelios Moon Boy down as it's 2 kills for 1. No junglers though. Means Baron's not an option.
And that's confidence from ESCA going, hey, look, Xico isn't even positioned. We can collapse on this faster, and xeonerr gives us life for the greater good. The 2-for-1 trade. But with dragon up, can ESCA get the engage that they need? Jarvan is the main engage tool for this Ultra League representative.
Xico going to face check this one. Marlon takes about half his HP, but he's going to be able to devour this. Ahri flash away from Xico. Spirit Rush as well. Bit of damage coming on through. Maybe he can turn this one around. The shadow of the target. There's an ignite. Almost a solo kill, but can't finish it off. Now knocked up and taken down himself. HeSSZero falls on the top side of the fight. Agresivoo 1v3 forced away. Harpoon surviving. Look at Mrozku, wants to go forward, but can't find an angle.
It's gone so long, though. The xeonerr's back in the map. Crownshot's back in the map. And with that, BDS Academy can muscle their way into River with the better health bars. And all said and done, it's still 3rd dragon coming in for BDS Academy. And for the Ultra Liga fans, they thought they had it there. They thought ESCA would be able to work forward, but this is where it all started. xeonerr thinking, hey, look, I can go over the wall, but then going, hang on a second. We can actually bring this back. HeSSZero's in position. Look at where Xico is on the map. He's so far away from home, and ESCA just know that they can get in first. They can fight the uneven fight and try and take it for themselves.
And I feel like in theory that works, right? In theory that play works, but xeonerr kind of going in a little too early. Obviously he was caught out to start things off. The rest of the team wasn't there in time to be able to save him. If he survives just a little bit longer, I think this is a much more one-sided play, but couldn't happen. And then the amount of damage Xico is able to get out across the team here, really impressive.
Oh, here we go, though. Baron started. xeonerr, the only one really in the area. Mrozku has a really good flank, though.
Are we going to do it? Are we just going to 50-50 the Baron? I don't think so for now. Sheo backing away. Mrozku on the top side of the plate. There's a Spirit Rush, Everfrost as well, but no significant damage, and takes off of his elf for his trouble. The Shadow on the front line as the Herald has finally been dropped in this mid lane. That will be the tier 1 tower finally finished off in favor of ESCA. But again, this gold lead is so close between the two teams, like they're just 1,000.
And this is the thing, right? Like, when you start to look at how both these teams scale, HeSSZero starting to come in onto his own as well. Like, he's going to be picking up 2.5, 3 items now just momentarily. You got Agresivoo, still strong, but he's going to be a little bit kind of outmatched here by the Gwen when you get towards team fights.
Yeah.
You got Mrozku, who now has the Zhonya's, which is such a crucial pick for this Sylas. And Harpoon, Ruin's Hurricane now complete as well. This Jinx is starting to do damage.
Crowny moving on over. He's on 2 items on this Aphelios. He is scary. This is going to be a hard engage. I think this is going to be a fight on our hands. Sheo slowed by the Zap. Harpoon trying to get some rockets out. But a full 5-man squad from BDSA trying to retreat on the top side. xeonerr needs to be cautious how aggressive he goes, because they have a lot of burst damage to turn around on someone.
They're trying to see if they can just use the poke from Harpoon with that Zap to force back BDS Academy. Even if you get them low, maybe you turn for the Baron, but not able to find the engage, not able to find the poke. So both teams back away, but this is so tense, Mudge. This is so close. And when we're talking about this being the rematch from our first game of the day, LFL versus Ultra Liga, this one is delivering like we expected it to.
And crucially, earlier on, it was Ultra Liga Seed 1 versus LFL play-ins. LFL won that one out. This is Seed 2 versus Seed 2. On paper, that should mean the BDS Academy are the favorite in this one. But Team ESCA doing a good job to keep things fairly even. The problem is the Drakes, right? 2 minutes until Soul comes up in favor of BDS Academy.
And you can see ESCA are trying to see if they can make those picks happen. They're just grouping up. They're not worried about like Agresivoo on the side. They want to see if they can force the play mid, force Agresivoo has no TP to make a tough call, and that's why they're starting this Baron. Now BDS Academy have to get in.
Look at Mrozku trying to buy time for his team, trying to be the body blocker here. Baron down to 5k HP. They might just commit to this one, but it's just going to be a CC chain onto Marlon. Barely survives. Now Cataclysm in the backline from xeonerr, and they dive on forward. Xico with 1 kill for himself, but the reset on Harpoon has to flash away, keeps himself alive. Xico looking for more. 3 Spirit Rush charges. He can chase this one down. He can look for more. Onto HeSSZero, onto xeonerr. But can he find the charm is the question. The answer will be no.
Marlon keeps trying to go in ahead of xeonerr, but instead of just letting the Jarvan do his thing, find the big cataclysms, he's trying to be the hero. And unfortunately, it's the catfish that's been put on the hook, and BDS Academy forced back Team ESCA. And now it doesn't matter that you didn't have to burn the summoner spell, or you didn't have the summoner spell and the TP for the Graves to get here. When Marlon taking out the equation, imagine you have the follow-up here now as the Tahm Kench onto Crownshot. Crownshot doesn't have a flash, has no way out of the Cataclysm, but fortunately, it's not to be.
Great play from Agresivoo there as well to force Harpoon out of the fight. If Agresivoo doesn't go aggressive, as his name would suggest in that fight, then Harpoon can take over. But now, Agresivoo as well on 3 items on this Graves. He's massive. Dead cap finish for Xico.
30 seconds until Dragon, though. Now, the actual flashes on 80 carries have been flipped. Harpoon has none. Marlon, no flash. Same when you look at xeonerr and you look at BDSA, there are flashes on some of these key carries, which could be the difference maker here. Vision in favor of BDS Academy. This would be Soul, and ESCA don't even look like they can have a glimpse in at this river right now.
No vision anywhere near the Drake. Charm goes wide onto Marlon as the team desperately grouping up to try and force this mid lane priority, but Agresivoo can just clear the wave here. Baron is up on the map. I don't think that's a trait that you want, ESCA, because guess what? Agresivoo has TP. He's just going to go do the Drake. All BDS Academy need to do is stop this Baron going down, threaten the 50-50, but maybe this is a desperation play from ESCA as Xico comes in, gets the charm. Moonlight Vigil Infernum, it's big damage from Crowny, flashes out backwards in the fight, and this is a 4v5 from BDS Academy, but they don't care about your numbers. They've got the statistics, they've got the damage, and they've got a double kill to Crowny.
Crownshot is playing that fight so well, cutting back, avoiding everything that ESCA are throwing at him, and now the Soul is theirs, the Baron is theirs, and BDS Academy looking to make it a 2-0 against the Ultra League.
A brutal fight in favor of BDS Academy as they just wipe ESCA out. And you know, we talked about the TP for Agresivoo. He could go to the Drake because he's got TP. Not even need. He just walks to the mid lane instead.
But here's the thing, right? Like, keep your eyes on Crownshot. Like, positioning wonderful here. xeonerr once more trying to see if he can get on to Crownshot, but he manages to get the Infernum off, kiting back straight away. No one's able to follow up on towards Crownshot because of that nice flash. And then you've got damage coming through from the Baron on one side onto ESCA. BDS Academy are fighting from the other.
Yeah.
And with that 5th man of the neutral objective helping out BDS Academy, they can actually power through.
And it feels like Xico is such a huge part of how BDSA is operating in this game, doing so much to just ruin the front line of Team ESCA, but also to try and find these picks to try and get that damage out early, but also Erdote doing a really good job on this Lulu to keep Crownshot safe no matter the cost.
And I've been really impressed with Xico as well, because like coming across onto BDS Academy, like Portuguese player that's now stepping up into the LFL. We saw him play a little bit in the Prime League, but not really kind of like finding a staple spot in a lot of these major ERL regions, and now he honestly looks absolutely incredible. Like his laning phase is great, his ability to make picks are happening, but I'm gonna hold on to this.
Race.
We're just we're going for it, but I mean, ESCA blinked, and now BDS Academy are like, cool, well, we have more gold, we're just gonna go.
They're gonna lose their whole base for this one. It's gonna be in-hip tower, down in the bottom side. Agresivoo trying to deny recalls here. Won't be able to do too much, but he can just TP in. They've got Baron, they've got Crownshot, who could just shred these towers. One Nexus tower falls already. BDS Academy, can they look for more? Xico steps forward, has the Foxfire available to do a bit of damage. Marlon is here though, and it looks like BDSA might be backed away in the end. The Baron not quite enough for them to do the job. Looks like they might retreat, or they might just hang around.
I mean, they have Baron still. They're just waiting on the next wave. You've Soul as well. The poke is there. Xico being a menace here on the side.
Here we go. Diving the towers. There's one for Crownshot already. And ESCA need to do some damage, but they just don't have the numbers. Crowny, invincible in the fray. As Shadow turns golden, escapes, but gets cut down anyway. Agresivoo with 2. And they can't even land a rocket. Harpoon alone in the world. He'll be finished off easily. A shotgun to the face. A triple for Agresivoo. And a comfortable domination in favor of BDSA.
The LFL representatives coming up clutch here today against the Ultraliga. That will be 2-0 now. And the French will cheer as the Nexus falls.
2 wins on the board for the LFL already. And BDS Academy looking clean in these fights, right? All around Crownshot, but Xico as well. Fantastic Ahri performance.
And I have to say, like, a much more reserved BDS Academy from what I've seen over in the LFL, right? Much more confident in how they want to orchestrate the map, how they want to play the map. They're not looking for these quick picks or quick plays where they can overextend that bit too far. This was calculated. This was clean. And BDS Academy coming out looking absolutely phenomenal as a result.
Yeah, really, really good stuff coming out from BDSA. And as you say, it was, you know, cool, calm, collected, but not afraid to make plays happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference, because we do see some slow teams that are really nervous about forcing a play, nervous about going for a fight. That was not BDSA. They were happy to go for a fight and calling the bluff on the Baron multiple times, for example, but intelligent about how they go for the fights, not just recklessly engaging for the sake of things, making sure they knew they had the advantage. And I mean, they won a 4v5.
Yeah.
Absolutely impressive stuff coming out mechanically here. But we're going to jump into a break. That's going to be the last cast from myself and Dagda. It's going to be Orcs and Ashin joining you after the break. But coming up, we have another match coming your way. It's Atleta up against LDLC, another LFL representative. We'll see if they can get the hat trick for the day.